My dad never liked fat people. He said it so often. It stopped sounding cruel and started sounding like a rule. Fat people are lazy. Fat people have no control. Don't end up like that. The problem, I was already fat. At 10 years old, I didn't know what body image meant. But I knew how he looked at me when I reached for a second spoon of rice. Like I was breaking something sacred. Like I was already a disappointment. Don't eat that, he said one evening. I had barely started my plate. The room went quiet. I stared at my food. My stomach growled, but shame was louder. I dropped my spoon and pushed the plate away. He nodded, satisfied. My mom tried to defend me sometimes. She's just a child. She's still growing. But he always had the final word. She's growing in the wrong direction. After a while, I started skipping meals. Not to lose weight, at first. I just wanted to stop hearing his voice. I'd pretend I wasn't hungry. Drink water until I was dizzy. Sometimes I'd sneak food when he wasn't home, and then feel disgusted with myself. By the time I turned 11, I had a stomach ulcer. The doctor asked if I was under stress. My dad laughed and said, "She's just dramatic." But I wasn't being dramatic. I was shrinking. Not in size, my body barely changed. But in spirit, in joy, in identity. The worst part, I started to believe him. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a little girl. I saw a problem. Something that needed to be fixed, hidden, controlled. I wore baggy clothes. I stopped dancing around the house like I used to. I kept my voice down, my head low. I learned how to disappear in plain sight. Looking back, I realize I wasn't just hungry for food. I was hungry for love without condition. For a father who didn't measure my worth by my waistline. But what I got was silence, side eyes, and the weight of never being enough. And it all started with one sentence. "Don't eat that." My dad didn't just hate that I was fat. He hated that I looked like my mother. He used to say it without saying it. A glance at her plate. A sigh when she walked into the room. He'd tell me, "Be careful, Layla. You don't want to end up like her." Like hers. She was gentle, soft-spoken. She smiled through exhaustion and cooked every night. Even after work. But none of that mattered to him. All he saw was her body. And the fact that it no longer matched the woman he married. One night, I heard them fighting. "You've let yourself go," he said. "I had a baby," she snapped back. "My body changed, that's normal. You didn't even try." I hid behind the hallway wall, heart pounding. That was the first time I realized love could be taken away for gaining weight. After that, things were tense. He barely spoke to her, he barely looked at me. Until the day he packed a suitcase, stood at the front door, and said to me, "Be good and don't eat so much." Then he left. No hug, no "I love you," just instructions. Like I was a machine he didn't want malfunctioning. My mom cried for days. She didn't say much. Just moved through the house like a ghost. But every night, she still made me dinner. She didn't force me to eat. She just placed the plate down gently, with tired eyes and a soft smile. That was her love language, food. Even if it had become my enemy. I wanted to make her proud, but I also wanted to disappear. I was already being called names at school. "Lard Layla, too big to run." One boy said, "You're fat like your mom." I laughed with them. That hurt more than the insult. Blamed my body. I blamed her body. But the truth is, it wasn't our bodies that ruined anything. It was him. He left because he couldn't love softness on her or in me. And every time I looked in the mirror, I wondered if he saw her in me. And if that's why he stopped looking at all. My stomach started hurting around the time my dad left. At first, it felt like a pinch. Then it became a burn. By the end of that year, it was fire, especially when I hadn't eaten, which was often. I thought the pain meant I was doing something right. Like maybe starving myself would finally shrink the parts of me he hated. Every skipped meal felt like a small win. A slice of toast here, a few bites there. Some days, I made it all the way to bedtime without eating at all. But I was tired, always tired. And the pain never stopped. My mom noticed when I started waking up in the middle of the night, holding my stomach. "Is it cramps?" "No," I whispered, "just a little ache." She took me to the doctor a week later. I remember the fluorescent lights, the cold bench, the way she gripped my hand while the doctor asked questions. "Does she eat regularly?" My mom glanced at me, confused. "Of course she does, right, Layla?" I nodded. I lied. The diagnosis was quick: ulcers, likely from stress and poor eating habits. The word felt like a badge of shame, like a confirmation that something was wrong with me again. My mom was quiet on the way home. I expected her to yell. Instead, she cried. That night, she cooked my favorite meal: fried plantains, beans, and stew. I stared at it like a stranger. I wanted to eat it, I wanted to be okay. But I couldn't forget my dad's voice in my head. Watch what you eat. So I picked at the plantains and forced a few spoons down while pretending to enjoy it. Then I flushed the rest down the toilet when she wasn't looking. It's a strange thing to be punished for having an appetite, then punished again for losing it. Even when I starved, I stayed big. Even when I hurt, people thought I was just being dramatic. Even when I cried, no one asked what I needed. Everyone just saw a fat girl. Not a sick girl, not a scared girl. Just fat. School was never safe for me, but middle school, that was war. The hallways became runways for shame. Locker doors slammed behind my back. Whispers turned into giggles. Giggles turned into names. Wail. Lard Layla. Earthquake. They said it loud enough for me to hear, then looked away when I turned. Like my pain didn't matter if they didn't see it. I learned to fake laughter. That was survival. If I laughed first, it hurt less when they laughed louder. I clapped back with sarcastic jokes and rolled eyes, pretending I was too confident to care. But every insult stuck to me like wet clothes I couldn't peel off. PE was the worst. I hated running, not because I couldn't but because I knew people were watching, judging. My thighs rubbed together, my shirt clung to my back, and if I slowed down, they'd say, "Of course she can't keep up." One day during dodgeball, a boy hit me square in the stomach and yelled, "Easy target." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. But that night, I cried into my pillow until I couldn't breathe. The ulcer pain came back, sharper this time. My mom thought it was the food again. I didn't tell her it was the words. No matter how much I starved, my body stayed round. I hated it for holding on, for refusing to disappear. I hated how my arms jiggled when I waved, how chairs creaked when I sat down, how every bathroom had a mirror that reminded me of what I was. The worst part, I thought they were right. Maybe I was too much. Maybe I was the punchline. Maybe I deserved it. I started walking with my shoulders hunched, trying to shrink my presence. Baggy clothes, hair covering my face. I became a shadow of myself on purpose. No teacher stepped in. No friend defended me. Even when the names were shouted in class, no one said a thing. Because bullying a fat girl wasn't really bullying. It was just expected. I survived by disappearing, by pretending it didn't hurt, by becoming invisible while being the most visible person in the room. And every day I walked those halls, I asked myself one question. Would they still hate me if I were smaller? I didn't know the answer, but I kept trying to find out. I started avoiding mirrors in middle school. It wasn't just about what I saw, it was about what I heard. My dad's voice, the kids at school, the constant loop of names, warnings, and insults playing like background noise. You're blowing up like your mother. No one likes fat girls. You better fix it before high school. Every time I caught a glimpse of myself, I didn't see Layla. I saw failure, I saw disappointment. I saw too much of everything. So I stopped looking. I got ready for school with the lights off, brushed my hair without facing the mirror, changed clothes in the dark. If I didn't see myself, maybe I could forget what I looked like. But the world wouldn't let me forget. Dressing rooms became battlegrounds. Every shopping trip ended in tears and oversized hoodies. Nothing fit right, not the clothes, not my skin. I remember once standing in a store mirror, with a dress clinging too tightly to my stomach. My mom said, "You look beautiful." I laughed bitterly, "Don't lie to me." She looked hurt, but I was already too deep into self-hate to hear her. At night, I'd stand in the bathroom, staring at my reflection in pieces, just my face, or just my legs, never the whole thing. And when I did, all I could think was, "You're disgusting." I said it to myself, more than anyone else ever had, until I believed it. One day, I tried writing affirmations on sticky notes, like I saw on TV. "You are worthy. You are enough." I stuck them to my mirror and stared at them, but all I could hear in my head was, "You're lying." So I ripped them off. What no one tells you is how much time you lose when you're at war with your own body. You lose joy. You lose moments. You lose yourself. I wasn't living, I was just enduring, existing inside a body I'd been taught to hate. And every mirror was a reminder. No matter how much I tried to hide, how much I skipped meals, how quiet I became, the mirror didn't lie. I was still me. Still fat. Still not enough for them or for myself. I wasn't used to people looking at me, at least, not in a kind way. When boys looked, it was usually followed by laughter. When girls looked, it was usually followed by whispers. And when I looked at myself, I mostly wished I didn't exist. So when Jordan looked at me, really looked, I didn't know what to do. We met in high school biology. I was the quiet girl in the back. He was the one who actually read the textbook. He offered me a pen on the first day. I barely looked up. The second day, he asked if I liked music. By the third, he was saving me a seat. At first, I thought it was a prank. I waited for the moment he'd laugh or say, "Just kidding," or tell me someone dared him to talk to me. But he didn't. He kept showing up with jokes, playlists, weird facts about insects. He made me laugh without trying to fix me. That was new. One afternoon, we were studying together in the library. I made a joke about being too big to sit on the same bench. He stopped and said, "Why do you always say stuff like that about yourself?" I froze. "Because it's true," I muttered. He leaned forward, eyes steady. "You know, I think you're beautiful." I laughed. I had to laugh. It was a reflex. But he didn't. He just smiled, like he meant it. I wanted to believe him, but my brain wouldn't let me. How could someone see beauty in something I'd been taught to hide? I pushed him away a few times, joked that I was too heavy to love, said he should find someone more his type. But he didn't budge. He never asked me to lose weight. He never suggested I try anything. He just liked me as I was. And slowly, something shifted. Not in the mirror, but in my heart. His gaze didn't make me shrink. It made me breathe. For the first time, someone looked at me and didn't see a warning. He saw a girl with a sharp mind, a crooked laugh, and yes, a soft body. But to him, that wasn't something to fix. It was something to hold. Falling for Jordan felt like breathing for the first time. Not the shallow breaths I took when I was trying to make myself small. Not the held-in ones when I walked past groups of kids who might laugh. But real, full chest-opening breaths. The kind that filled the spaces I didn't know were empty. With him, I laughed louder. I spoke up in class. I wore colors I'd sworn off years ago. But love doesn't erase years of shame overnight. The first time he touched my stomach, just casually, while we were lying on the grass, I flinched. He pulled his hand back. "Did I hurt you?" "No," I whispered. "I just don't like that part of me." He didn't say anything right away. Just looked at me, really looked, and said, "That part of you is just as lovable as the rest." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But my dad's voice still echoed in the corners of my mind. "No one wants a girl who lets herself go. Boys don't like fat girls. Don't end up like your mother." Sometimes I wondered if Jordan would wake up one day and realize he could do better. Thinner, fitter, prettier. Someone who didn't carry so much, everything. I started skipping meals again, quietly. Old habits don't die easy. And even though Jordan never commented on my body, I was terrified he was thinking it. One night we were out for dinner. I picked at my plate the entire time. He noticed. "You don't like it." "I'm just not hungry." "Is it me?" That broke me. I burst into tears, right there in the booth. He moved closer, took my hand and waited. No judgment, no confusion, just patience. When I finally spoke, I told him everything about my dad. The names, the mirror, the hunger that never left. He listened, and when I finished, he said, "You never have to starve to be worthy of love." That night, something changed. Not my size, not the world, but me. For once, love didn't feel like something I had to earn by shrinking. It felt like air, gentle, constant, and life-saving. I never planned to write my dad a letter. I didn't think he deserved one. But one afternoon, after an especially long talk with Jordan, where I cried and choked on words I hadn't said in years, I felt something pressing on my chest. A weight I'd been carrying since I was 10. So I sat at my desk, pulled out a notebook, and started writing. "Dear Dad, I don't know if you ever think about me, but I think about you all the time. Mostly in the quiet moments, when I pass a mirror, or can't finish a meal, or flinch when someone says fat too loud. You probably thought you were helping. You probably thought you were saving me from something. But all you did was teach me to hate the skin I live in." I wrote for hours. About the spaghetti dinner, I still remember. The party I didn't attend, because my arms looked too big in the dress. The first time I made myself throw up, and the deep shame that followed. I wrote about the ulcer, the silence, the way I believed I wasn't worthy of love unless I was small enough. You said fat people are lazy. You said no one would want me. You said I needed to try harder. But you never looked in the mirror yourself. I got this body from you. And still, somehow, I was the one punished for it. I cried as I wrote, not because I missed him, but because I didn't. That was the hardest truth. When I finished, I folded the letter carefully and placed it in an envelope. I even wrote his name on the front. But I never mailed it. Instead, I tucked it in a drawer beside my journal and lit a candle. For closure, for peace, for the girl I used to be.